What other games y'all play? Oh shoot, I'm not gonna win that battle. Let's see if I can still. My end goal for this, yes. There's an achievement which was sort of what I was modeling after. Um, so you start as the Count Robert or Eudes, which I think is two up. It's like my grandfather, maybe. Um, and you start with a couple counties, and then you sort of work your way up and get the kingdom of West Francia. Dude, I've been butchering all these European names all day. Um, but there's an achievement for that because I guess it's something that happened way back in the 800s. So that's sort of my goal. Really, my focus here is trying to one consolidate my home duchy. Um, and I've been having to fight this neighboring duke for a couple counties here and there. The second part is I'm actually only a count level, even though I have like 7 counties right now. Um, so at some point I have to take the Duchy of Anjou from my liege. So I'm just sort of focusing on one thing here by getting all those counties first, and at that point I should have pretty good military power. I'm sort of throwing this war right now, honestly. uh, we'll see how this goes. But at that point, I should have pretty good military power to be able to fight off my liege. Let's see, I guess I had a couple people die in that battle. My heir needs to get married. There's not really any good alliances to be gained, it looks like, from marriage suitors, so I'll probably just go with someone that's got pretty good uh, congenital inheritable traits here. I mean, he's already got handsome, which I mean, it helps with actually getting a marriage, and then obviously fertility and diplomacy, which gets you an heir down the line. So I'll probably look for a marriage with someone that's either genius or, yeah, I think we'll focus on genius. But these there's 3 big sort of different trait classes. One's for looks, one's for strength, and one's for like intelligence. And once you get them, uh, once you get a character with all 3, and if they have like a top level one, because you have like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 of those, and obviously the negative tiers as well, like instead of handsome it'd be ugly. But once you get a top tier or a tier 3 one of those, and you have all 3 from each or you have uh, one from each class, there's actually a decision you can take to strengthen your bloodline. And that, on top of, there's these new things with Crusader Kings 3 where you get boost for your specific dynasty here. So it's things that will like uh, increase different parts of your like martial or uh, your different army boosts or knights, and then you got some that are like more diplomacy related or stewardship. Um, this is the big one, blood. It starts getting uh, your dynasty like better traits and stuff, and there's a couple others, but really the big one are these where you start getting better traits as you start breeding. So once you do all that, it's pretty much every kid you have starts having like 2 or 3 solid traits, and it gets a little unfair. The congenital traits about being dumb. How many? Uh, I have seen the ones about being dumb. I haven't seen all the different synonyms, but I'm sure I could find some. And the weird thing about this game, I wouldn't call it weird. I think it's actually a little bit more relevant than Crusader Kings 2. If you start doing a little bit of inbreeding and similar to Crusader Kings 2, you start getting not only like the inbred trait, but you'll also start just getting bad traits in general. Like I was looking there, and some of the people my heir could marry had like a hunchback trait or something. Yeah, right here. And I found if you start doing a little bit of inbreeding, you'll start having those traits pop up a little bit more often. Um, what boosts dynasty legacies? So over time, your house as a whole, um, depending on how many members you have and like their different ranks and prestige amounts, will be uh, increasing the dynasty's renown. It's like right now mine has 850 and it's going up by 2 a month because you get a certain number for like each living member, and then depending on ranks that gives another amount. Um, and then it's like I think the highest ranked member of your dynasty sort of gets to choose um, what legacies he wants to take. So right now I'm pretty sure that's my liege. Oh, actually he's a different house. Let's see who it is for the Duchess of Champagne. So she's like the leader of the house right now. So she'll get to choose any legacies once we get to that certain amount of renown. Yeah, the bloodlines in Crusader Kings 2 were fun. Uh, I always liked the raiding ones or the Norse ones where you'd have to like go. I think you had to join one of the. Just a second, I got to get some mercenaries because I sort of threw this war. Um, yeah, in Crusader Kings 2, I think it was the Norse or just pagans in general that you would join like one of the what do they call them, like the fighting houses or something, little secret society. And then you would like go all over the Europe fighting or something, and the last boss is like a bear. Raiding actually works pretty similar in this game to Crusader Kings 2, where you get a certain army and they can carry so much gold, and you just sort of throw them through your neighboring ruler's territory, or if you're one of the Norses, you can toss them on boats and go do England and France and all that. Yeah, I agree. Especially, I don't remember if they ever ended up, if they were adding on all the bloodlines as they went or not, but it seemed like as time went on, like the bloodlines got a little bit. Oh man, throwing this war some more. The other thing I've noticed in this game is if you take the martial focus uh, and you lead your own armies, there are a couple traits you can get to where you don't die in battle pretty much, and you get huge buffs to your armies or to your commander, and it's honestly enough that it makes a huge difference in battles there. But yeah, I did like how the bloodlines seemed to. I wouldn't say they progressed as time went on and there were updates, but it seemed like they got a little bit more depth to them. Um, Although there were a couple that were cheesy, and you were just hoping for a good roll, like the blood of Alexander or something. But there were definitely some fun ones that added to a few goals throughout the game that you could sort of focus on. Yes, I'll take that. Still got to marry my heir. So he's already got one of the physical traits there. I was looking for like a genius or intelligent here. That's actually a solid one. Though she's a little young. I think we'll go with that. And that will actually help as Because the thing is, with him being 17, you get another 17-year-old there, and they have a few kids before you realize it, and you turn it over to him, and he's got 3 sons ready to chop up your territory even more. You demand conversion? No, still not converting. But if you betroth them to a 5-year-old, she's still got 12 years before she comes over, or sorry, 11. Need to Excel out to do the math. So that's 11 years he won't be breeding. Let's see here. Let's see if I can still call my allies, because will not accept. And shoot, that's a huge cost just for a baron to come to war. Don't see that often. So I guess I'm gonna have to do this one by myself here. And let's see if this guy's a slightly better commander, but what's been hurting me though is I think this dude is might be leading his own troops, and that gives him some huge buffs, which makes single battles hard. Just offer that. Yeah, I remember the penalties for not going to war for an alliance call wasn't bad at all. And I can't remember what there's a bug somewhere that like it was causing endless wars, because I know I ran into it a couple times. And on top of that, the other big issue was any of these hired by me. Shoot, let's see if I can ask the Pope for some gold. So I sort of found myself needing a couple things of mercenaries. The other big bug was, for some reason, your saved game, you couldn't save your game and come back and still get some of the achievements for like single character dynasty lines. Like the one I did was you start off as someone over here. I think you have like 6 counties or so in here, and you end up getting the whole Empire of Russia, which is like 80 something 88 counties. And there's an achievement for that, and I probably took a couple days and more than a few hours like doing it carefully, because with the tribal guys it's a little bit harder to just marry like sort of marry kingdoms together, through like pretty much getting kingdoms through marriage. You got to actually fight for a lot of it. So I did that, and then I got all the way to getting the Empire of Russia and then more, and I was like, I don't think the achievement popped, and I googled it, and sure enough. So I did that again, and then I realized I didn't do it on Iron Man. So after that I was like, I guess this one's just not meant to be. Let's see, I think we should have enough gold now to get another set of mercenaries. Yeah. Mods are looking good. I haven't actually looked into any of the mods yet. And honestly, for Crusader Kings 2, I didn't do much modding. Or, sorry, didn't use very many mods. So, then we I was actually talking about that earlier. I hate how every time on the Crusades here, obviously the first one, and actually pretty much every subsequent one, they always want to go for Jerusalem. So you end up winning it, and then you look like 10 years later, it's either fragmented or your family decides to convert to Muslim. It's like, that was pointless. So usually, especially if I'm playing France, I'll usually focus on the dudes down here in Hispania for the first couple Crusades. Sometimes if I'm doing like an English or an Irish start, and the Norse, if they start gaining some control here, I'll pivot the crusade their direction or even up into here. But yeah, they need to do something about if the Crusaders win Jerusalem, like I don't know, maybe make it so Christians don't easily or just about ever convert to Muslim. But I think the issue with the mechanics there is that if you have a lot of counties that aren't your religion, um, you start just running into a bunch of revolts, and similar counties will revolt for the same thing, so they'll have a lot of power. And then I think the AI just sees all that power and then just sort of capitulates to them. Capitulates. Mark that down as another word in this game I can't say. Yeah. I mean, playing through England is shattered, Catherine Crusade happens for it. You know what's funny is that this game, there's actually been a lot of Lullard that's seemed to pop up around here. And Insular, I don't know, it's hit or miss on if Ireland stays there or has a few people convert to Catholic, but maybe you can answer this question. I've tried, and I haven't really noticed through my playthroughs of Crusader Kings 3 as far as like what the dynamics of different Christianity religions do. Because I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that in depth, and definitely not something like EU4 where Protestantism has completely different mechanics than Catholicism or anything. So I don't know if there's much, or if they're expecting to, do some stuff about that in future updates or DLCs. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and attack these dudes. Hopefully, get them low enough here where they're not going to be able to be sieging down anything. So I'm tired of just trading back and forth for a couple different counties. And usually, I still didn't notice if that dude's leading his army or not, but usually if they're leading their army, after a few battles, you'll eventually capture the leader, and at that point, it's an automatic secede, or it's an automatic peace. But I don't know, has there been any talk about what they're focusing on for the first couple DLCs? Because I know in the, I think it's like the deluxe version, or there's some version you could buy that would automatically give you like the first two DLCs in some closed pack. But I haven't been following close enough to see if they've said anything about what they plan to focus on in the first couple DLCs. you bought that version? Let's see. Foreign ruler. I don't really care about that. Let's see. So the other big thing here that's changed is that on top of having prestige and piety and obviously the renown added in, as you continue to accumulate these, you have different levels of fame for prestige or devotion for piety or renown. That fame and piety, or fame and devotion, stay for your character, renowns for your entire dynasty and bloodline. But as you get to these different levels, you get different buffs here. Top line, look, date and speed. um, and so I know as you start getting to like the third and fourth and fifth level of devotion, there are a couple different things that get unlocked. Um, One is like you can declare larger holy wars. Initially, I think you can only do like a county or maybe a duchy, but once you get to, I think it's Paragon of Virtue, most religions will allow you to declare like a holy war for an entire kingdom. Um, then there's a couple different wars that for prestige you have to get to like illustrious or exalted above among men to use the casus bellis. And there's the win. Took a lot longer than it should have. And just in time for those mercenary contracts to expire. I don't know if you're playing as Mongolian or in Africa. Um, I've actually heard some of the India starts are pretty fun. I don't know why. I just never, even in Crusader Kings 2, played anything like India or Tibet or Mongols. Um, I actually don't know what the Mongol mechanics are like in this game. I know in Crusader Kings 2 you'd have them suddenly spawn and then just start ravaging all the way across the north. Um, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they definitely put a lot more focus on Africa here, and they expanded down to really a populated area. The other big thing is they have so many religions here. It was something I was looking at earlier, and I mean, shoot, this is just Christian faiths, and that's what 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 different Christian faiths. You do all the others, and I don't know if there's an official count, but I'd I'd probably start losing count as if I tried to go through all of these. But I mean, instead of just having like one paganism or two different pagan religions for Africa, they got all these different ones, and uh, it makes sense considering when I was seeing the initial videos from the devs, they were talking about focusing a lot more on uh, diversity of religion, which I'm glad to see. The other thing is, and I never seem to be able to, but you can, especially as some of the pagan religions, you can go and reform your beliefs, and even as some of the Christian ones and other organized faiths. But it always seems to cost a lot of piety to do that, unless you have a character who takes each character. You can take a lifestyle focus in one of the 5 main trait categories. If you have one that takes the learning focus, there's something I think in the theologian tree that halves the cost. Yeah, here we go. Profit, faith creation and reformation cost minus 50%. And honestly, if you're going to try and reform or start a new faith, you almost have to do that, because just changing a couple things in here, the cost starts skyrocketing. Not having to pay to play religions, yes, very nice. Not having to pay to play Muslim religions is really nice, considering how big of a group that is. And I mean, that's like sort of the other half of Crusader Kings, Catholics versus Muslims. I mean, I guess you do have some great holy wars against the pagans, but the Muslims are the big one. It's weird to think, because it sounds like you actually played some Crusader Kings 2 just base game. Um, I think when I got into it, a lot of the initial DLCs that added like core gameplay features or things that affected the core gameplay had already been out, so I sort of got those on day one when I started playing. so I didn't really get to see the game without like what was that, Sons of Abraham, and um, there's another big one about is something with Rome and the Byzantines and Orthodox. Till I obtained all the DLC. Yeah, I never really played it without Reaper's Due. I did play it without um, whatever the DLC was that added in the council. And honestly, initially I hated that DLC when I bought it. I almost thought about just undownloading it, but the council thing sort of grew on me. See, my wife's with child. She's been acting strange. Would she betray me? I wish I had an option to say if it's a son she betrayed me. If not, we're chill. But I guess there's not really that option. Might as well do this intrigue challenge. Okay, I guess it is mine. Let's see, let's go ahead and put our marshal over here in Sable. Start ransoming prisoners. Guess that's my second son, but I'll still counsel him. I really don't care about my daughter, so I'll just give it to my wife. I have a whole lot of piety, so I've just been asking the Pope for gold every chance I get. Do you know any way to get rid of the drunkard in CK3? I have no clue. If I remember correctly, and I don't know if I'm even remembering correctly, there might be a chain of events, or maybe this might have been Crusader Kings 2, where like you sort of it's similar to if you're trying to get rid of obese or something, where you take like a few health debuffs and a couple other things and have a chance of getting rid of it, but just make dude, I actually haven't had a drunkard character in a second, so I haven't seen that that their face gets red. But I did have I was playing a couple days ago and I had a character that got typhus fever and it looked like a zombie. And I'm pissed off that I didn't screen cap it because I was about to put it on the subreddit and get a hella karma because it looked just like a zombie. Like all these games doing different Halloween things. It's like, man, Crusader Kings looks like it's getting into it, but that's actually how they have the guy looking. Always got to do these pilgrimages because the amount of piety they give is just stupid. And the thing is, and I don't know if it got buffed with the last patch, if you're playing a Muslim ruler, you can actually do the Hajj, which is pretty much the same as a pilgrimage and gives like the same 800 or 900 or whatever piety for like a exceptionally long one. And then right behind that, you can go on a pilgrimage. So you like get two pilgrimage at once for the first one if you have the gold. Wake to a noise of chaos in the camp, but it takes me a few moments to realize what is happening. We're under attack. I'll go for the prowess challenge here. Let's see. Declare war. Let's see where this dude is. I actually am going to get an alliance with him. Just because a couple hundred troops can still make a difference at this point. And that's something when you're looking at alliances, if they're under like the same kingdom or top liege, I'll usually go with them. If they're in another kingdom, it's hit or miss, usually not, because I hate getting dragged into a bunch of meaningless wars, or at this point there's actually a penalty for not accepting a call to arms, so. Passed by a campfire telling a story she heard about some count to raucous laughter. False on it. Don't worry, my lord, you're nothing like the knave in this story. It's about some count from a far place called Anjou. Some of the stuff in this game is pretty comical. Let's see. Do I need stress loss, gain dread? I think my dread's at 0 and sort of go in that direction, so I'll just do varied pilgrimage buff. Alliance form. So at this point, let's see what my liege is looking like for an army. And I'm still building up a little bit after that last war, but the next goal here is I'm actually only at count level. Oh shoot. Another son, which makes 3. Still curious what China's going to be like. Yeah, I forget how far east they ended up going in this game. Actually, that is pretty far east. I haven't played over here yet. I haven't played India. I haven't played Tibet. I think I played one game. Whoops, sorry. Had that on Duchy. I was like, wow, that was real fragmented. I've played like 1 or 2 games as the Abbasids here, but really haven't gone east from there. So I haven't seen if it's much different mechanic-wise from how Europe is. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of random focus on China and India and those couple DLCs in CK2. So I assume with how much they've focused on various religions that they'll likely probably put more time into some of the sort of things that were previously out of the way, especially now that they have Africa being like a legit area that there's actually going to be a lot of action in. In India, they actually had it get to that point in Crusader Kings 2 when they did the Raj or something Raj DLC. I just don't know if the mechanics are that different right now or not. Yeah, see, these pilgrimages give you a ton of piety, and the fact that the Muslims can do it twice to begin with is a little bit OP, because once you get to that paragon of virtue, I mean, on top of your clergy loving you no matter what, just about, um, you get to declare a great holy war or a jihad. It's actually not jihad. It's just a holy war for like a kingdom. Which, if you're if you have any military at all, just about, is shouldn't be too hard. Was it really? I didn't realize India wasn't in the base Crusader Kings 2. How much of Africa did they end up having? Didn't it just go down to like maybe shoot. I think this is about how much they had in Crusader Kings 2, and then over here it maybe went down to like the just under the Sahara. Let's see, I think this is my top lieges. Oh, no, it's just a war that my liege got pulled into that doesn't really matter. Uh, shoot, did you see? Did y'all see where there's a way that you could just control every single county in the game because the debuffs were like percentage based, so there's a way you could just go throughout and control every county and still be getting gold and uh, levies from it. So apparently they fixed that in the recent patch. So you actually sort of have to keep track of if your domain holdings get a little bit over limit. Forget, someone on the subreddit called it like North Korea strategy or something. let's see. I think our army's pretty much about full strength. And let's see, comparatively speaking, let's see, make sure that's Duchy of Anjou. So our army's actually bigger than our liege and his allies. And there's enough gold that we could actually buy a mercenary group as well. So I think we're about ready for that war. Yeah, you can definitely still be above 1 or 2. I don't know what they do after that, though, because they changed it just because some people were cheesing and getting every single county under their control. The other thing I've heard is a big difference between this and CK2 as far as how you want to sort of treat your dynasty and family members is that in Crusader Kings 2 you didn't want to be given your family members or dynasty yeah, we'll gain some piety there. Wife and lover feels the same way. Yeah, I guess I can be in love with my wife for once on here. In CK2, shoot, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Someone in the chat remind me what I was just about to talk about. I'm sure it will come back here. Oh, given land and holdings to your family. In CK2, you didn't want anyone on your dynasty or especially close family to get too powerful, just because then there'd start being a whole lot of negative mood penalties or negative opinion penalties, and people would start having them fight for your claims. What I've found in CK3 is that you sort of do want to give your dynasty members holdings, especially counts or anything, because with the renown feature, it's going to help your house start gaining more renown. And they tend to like to create cadet branches. So what that is they're like the head of their dynasty, but it's still under your dynasty. So like on here, we got 3 houses. So I'm in the founding house in the top one, and then there's a couple cadet branches. And so you still get the boost to renown from that, but uh-oh, I think my game might have just crashed. So you still get the boost to renown from that, but I think they don't have as many negative penalties. Oh man, let's try refreshing this. Yep. Just a typical every 3 hour or so Crusader Kings 3 crash. Let's see, OBS still working. Shoot, I already got 170 hours in this game. And I will say it seems like the stability of the game's gotten a little better with the last couple patches, but like I said, it's still just about guaranteed every 3 or 4 hours a crash will happen. I don't know, the intro music still bangs. So we're gonna see how long it takes to load that game off my hard disk drive. Another game I tend to play a lot is Civ 6, and the couple dudes I always play multiplayer with have some SSDs that they run it off of. And shoot, they'll get in the game in maybe like 20 seconds, and they're sitting there for like a 2 minutes or so, waiting on me to load in off my hard drive. Like, man, one of these days I'll upgrade to the Evo for my main drive here, but for now y'all are gonna have to wait the intro. Lord, malady is contagious, diseased of a body of a commoner. Is planning an outing that will take me close to Nevers, the holding of my cousin. Shoot, we'll just take the piety boost. And let's see. I think we're gonna go ahead and declare war on our liege and try and get the Duchy of Anjou there. Let's see if it's still gonna cost 750 prestige to bring a couple barons with 200 troops in. Yeah. Enemy ally joins war. Guess I got an early into that truce, but I'm sort of done needing to fight that guy, so it doesn't make much of a difference. Let's see, I'm curious. I've honestly just sieging down his capital and capturing either an heir or him. Definitely him, but capturing an heir or someone else might be enough to honestly have him already surrender this war. Let's see here. 53%, yeah. Go ahead and take one more county here. Robert bullying him. So I don't know if this is a bug or something, but I've been getting a couple of these messages that just make zero sense. Like there's no discernible English grammar in them. We're gonna screenshot that one. Considering this is our second son, and I really don't care, we'll just go ahead and let him have Cravern. Yeah, he. Oh, the other thing I wanted to look at. So my succession, and obviously it's a little weird because I'm a count with 8 counties in different areas. So obviously he obviously if you have one son they get everything. What I assumed would happen if I had 2 sons going for this is I have this whole duchy. So I assumed my first son would get that duchy and then my second son would get like another one, and then the other 2 counties outside of the duchy would be sort of divided between them. But what happened was I got my second son, and at the time I had 6 counties. My first son got my capital, Sable, and Nantes. So Sable's in Anjou, and so is my he got my capital and Maine, Le Mans, and Nantes. So Anjou's in my capital duchy, Le Mans is in my capital duchy, Nantes isn't. My second son got, or is going to get Dreux, what is this? Vendôme and Sommer, but Sommer's in my capital duchy. So they were like dividing up my capital duchy for some reason, which I didn't understand. And now that I got a third son, let's see how this is looking. So primary heir is getting my capital, Sable, and Vendôme along with that barony. My second heir is getting Maine and Sommer, which are both part of my capital duchy. Then third heir is just getting random stuff, Nantes and Charters. So we're going to see how this succession sort of changes when I get this actual duchy here. And I'm still trying to figure out the succession mechanics when you're in any type of gavelkin, because they don't make sense. He. See, I think we should beat them on that. Oh, it didn't quite give us 100. Let's see. Let me check what the other counties I'm going against are. Oh, I guess it's just one of his allies. Yeah. Probably just defeat his army and then let the war clock tick. So I don't care to march an army all the way up there. I guess his allies didn't really contribute much support, which I'm not complaining about, but caught up to him. He. Let's see, lost counselor. And I don't like spy masters having anything close to a negative opinion of me, so I'll just sway him. Those guys will really mess up your day if you piss them off. Or ladies. Let's see. I'll go ahead and do this. Gives you a couple different options here for different challenges, and I think you can take as many of them or stop when you want. Glad I was able to help. The one thing that sort of pisses me off about war in this game is how much the AI, if they're outmatched, will start just running everywhere and you gotta chase them. It's just sort of a pain in the butt. Let's see. You know what? I'm actually gonna. Let's see if I can ransom him. This is a little cheesy, but I mean, I've already won it even without him being imprisoned, so I'll take the free gold and then. Oh. I guess he didn't decide yet. Yeah, he paid the ransom and then I still win the war. If he's imprisoned and you decide to do peace, he automatically gets released. So in this case, I already had 100% from the other war score, so I could ransom him, get free gold, and still do peace. Above vassal limit. Oh, let's see if that changes here. Yeah. That's just a quick glitch while I was switching over. Council invitation. Sure. Position of spy master. I'm a terrible spy master. Terrible at intrigue, but I guess I'll take it. So, after that, let's pause here real quick and see. First off, if succession changed at all. It looks like it did not. So our succession breakup's going to be the same. Let's see who all my vassals are. So I got a bunch of vassals here that aren't my de jure vassals. It's not going to be an issue for now, but we'll see. So the next big goal here, so the other thing I'm not a huge fan of is the map always sort of throws me off, because all of this is my liege, and so obviously co-vassals of him, but it shows all different colors, and I'm not sure which one's independent or not until you start clicking on like your liege. But the next sort of goal in the game, you could call it that, would be to get to the king of West Francia, to become the king. And so I don't know if there's something as Steward. Actually, yeah, Steward is the one that there's a claim throne scheme that you can do where I think once you do that, you can you pretty much get a claim on the kingdom there. But this dude's got a whole lot of military strength, so it's probably going to have to go through a few generations here of making sure we keep this key duchy together, and probably expanding to another duchy. I mean, usually all of these in central France are pretty powerful. Like Orleans here has 5 counties. Let's see. My treasury is brimming with gold and silver. As a wealthy lord, I expected to offer patronage to some kind of artist or scholar. So I think these will give you either I think this one does prestige for the Immaculate Gardens. This does piety. I forget what this does. Learning +2 and development growth. I'll just take the prestige. But most of the duchies here in France are pretty solid. Like Orleans has 5 counties and they all have, let's see, that's 3 holding spots, 3 holding spots, 3 holding spots, 4 and 2. Obviously, back to Crusader Kings 2, this is still one of the best duchies in the game. Neustria, I thought they called it something else in Crusader Kings 2. But yeah, Neustria, Flanders is solid. Valois, I think that's where Paris is at. So from here, I'll probably try and... Oh, someone else moved in on Brittany there. High Chief of Rennes. I'm trying to figure out why this is green, because usually green has something to do with Ireland or someone Irish. And this dude is Breton and has no ties to Ireland. So I don't know how he pulled up and got a green color instead of the normal Brittany white, but that's that. But what I was saying is, from here we might end up taking the Duchy of Brittany, get a solid second duchy going. Because like Crusader Kings 2, you're still really limited to 2 duchies till you start having a lot of opinion debuffs. Let's see. Oh, that dude might actually, let's see what his army looks like. But really, I feel like I can't go wrong with any of the nearby duchies as a secondary one. Shoot, even like a primary one. Let's see. This dude's not a big fan of me. Let's see. My spy master's on good terms now, so we'll go ahead and switch our increase opinion. Second son's still having issues. I mean, he's not getting any great traits. I'll just let him have a trusting. It's not that big of a deal, and I don't care to take a small rant or a small stress increase. Let's see, I'll just give her to my wife and lover. Crusader Kings out here getting wholesome. You go ahead and ask the Pope for some gold. I guess since I got quite a bit, I'll go ahead and build up my main holdings here a little bit more. Let me make sure I put it in the counties that my primary heir is getting first. That way, once succession happens, you can just start a couple, one or two quick wars there to get some of the holdings back. It might actually only be one, because I think, yeah, it's just going to be one against his middle brother there to get Maine and Sommer back. Let's see, this dude, oh wow, he actually has really solid stats. Considering he's got a diplomatic education trait, I'll go with this option that he likes to focus on diplomacy. Yep, ended up good. No casus belli. Let's see what I can do for war. I mean, I think we're probably going to be in just a little bit of a lull here, at least until succession. That's mainly because I know my small duchy here is going to break up to my 3 different sons. I don't want to do too much expansion and start making some of the younger ones more powerful on breakup. Plus, if I start fabricating claims, I'm pretty sure those go away when I die, so right now there's not much to do. Perfect, a 4th son. You know, I consider myself a good person in real life, but man, Crusader King starts tossing some thoughts into my head like, I wonder how I can kill 2 of my sons here. Let's see how that affects succession. So this dude's actually only going to get that county and the barony. And actually, I can grant the barony to a low noble. So he's just going to get the county. This guy gets Sable and Charters, Nantes and some. I don't understand that. So before, my primary heir is going to get Anjou and Sable. And now he's going to get Anjou and the county of Maine. One day I'll figure out the succession mechanics here. And by that time they'll probably make a huge change that have new mechanics to figure out. I don't know if any of y'all have where am I in line for Dynasty Head? That's a good question. Good point, because I think the person who was Dynasty Head before was the Duchess of Champagne. So I assume now that I'm on the same level as her, I probably will. House, yeah. So I'm gonna be the heir to the house head. I can't remember exactly how that works because I know part